We're now halfway through Season 5, and with it, with once again seems some of the most exciting and powerful weapons added to the finals. But as always, the question remains, what comes next? Welcome to today's video where we will be discussing my top weapon picks for the next season. And if you enjoy these suggestions and want to see them in the game, don't forget to like the video. That way, maybe our beloved developers will take notice. For example, in the last video we had great success in predicting this season weapons, and that is all thanks to you guys. For next season, my goal is to design weapons that will hype up players and attract them to the finals. Before we dive in, it's important to remember that every weapon in the finals is designed to be unique and iconic in its own way. The developers have always aimed for weapons that stand out visually and mechanically, so we'll need to stick to these principles when designing our weapons. With that said, let's jump into it, starting with the light class, which again might not get a weapon this season, but let's design one anyway. Looking at the current selection, we have 3 SMGs chambered in 9mm, a DMR in 7.62, and 2 shotguns. I would like to add a contender to the LH1, a second option for long-range fights. My answer is the SIG MPX. To ensure it stands out from the XP54, I'd suggest equipping it with a long barrel, making it extremely precise at medium and longer ranges. And for unique mechanic, it will come with a twin mag system, allowing for quick reloads on every odd mag change. This setup would make it a high precision weapon that rewards accuracy while also giving it a slick tactical look. This SIG MPX checks all the boxes. It's stylish, visually distinct, and brings a new mechanic. Let's now take a look at its potential stats. We have a 15 damage per bullet, a 1.5 headshot multiplier, 25 rounds in the mag, 880 rounds per minute, and an effective range of a 40 to 45 meter range at 67% damage drop-off. The DPS will be 220, and for reload speed, they have a 0.8 seconds for every first reload and a 2.1 to exchange the entire twin mag. Even though the twin mag has a 0.8 seconds reload speed between mags, it would still be balanced, only having 25 rounds in each mag, as it takes 10 bullets to kill a light and 24 for a heavy. The overall performance of the weapon is a slightly lower DPS than the other SMGs, but a very low recoil to compete with the LH1. So, that was my idea for the light class. Let me know in the comments if you agree or if you think the twin mag system would be too strong. Leave your ideas below. Moving on to the medium class, and this one's going to be intricate. We have 3 ARs, a DMR, and 2 shotguns. But apart from shotguns, we don't have another close range option. So I'd like to bring an icon from the past, the AEK 971. Before jumping in, let's review what makes the finals weapons great. Apart from being stylish, they need to be visually distinct and feature an iconic fighting mechanism. The AEK 971 does look a bit like the AKM, but I would just add a vertical grip at the end to make sure you can tell them apart in an instant. As for the unique mechanic, I would chamber it in frangible rounds, which would penetrate the enemy and fragment on exit, splashing anything behind the target. This means you can hit multiple targets if they stand in the same fighting line. Now let's talk numbers. A 14 damage per shot at a 1.5 headshot multiplier, 30 rounds in the mag, a rate of fire of 900 rounds per minute, and an effective range of 15 to 20 meters at a 40% damage drop-off. The total DPS would be 210 damage per second, and finally for reload speed, 2.2 seconds. With a high damage profile and high stability at short range, the AEK would bring a new dynamic to the medium class. Again, let me know in the comments if you agree. Finally, let's talk about the heavy class. I was thinking about a good weapon that could introduce a new mechanic, and this one was the hardest. But then I found it. So let me introduce my pick, the Crytek Trident LMG. This isn't just any LMG, it's a spin-up LMG. That means it starts with a low RPM and gradually increases to a blistering 1,000 rounds per minute over 1.5 seconds. This creates an interesting risk-reward mechanic where short burst won't maximize its firepower, but if you hold down the trigger, you'll unleash devastating sustained fire. Let's break down the stats. 14 damage for each shot at a 1.5 headshot multiplier, 50 rounds in the mag, and for the rate of fire, we start at 400 rounds per minute and it ramps up to 1,000 over 1.5 seconds. The effective range would be 35 to 40 meters, a 50% damage drop-off, and the DPS would go from 93 at the very start to 233 once it has spun up. The starting DPS is the weakest point of this weapon, as most weapons from both the light and medium classes would down a heavy in just over a second and a half. But if you get caught in the fire after the spin up is completed, you will be melted. The same principle applies for longer ranges. You have 1.5 seconds to take cover before the true damage kicks in. Yes, you are still getting damage in that time, but the average DPS during the spin up is 163 damage per second, which is still lower than the other heavy weapons. And having only 50 rounds in the mag means the sustained fire would only last for 3.8 seconds. For comparison, the Lewis mag lasts for 5.6 seconds and the M60 lasts for 7.2 seconds. This weapon will be a game changer, offering sustained firepower with a unique spin-up mechanic. And as always, if you don't agree, please drop your comments below. And there you have it, my free weapon picks for next season. I had a blast making this video and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you'd like to see these weapons in the finals, don't forget to like the video. Maybe we'll get the developers' attention. Thanks for watching, and with that being said, see you next time.